Hey, what's up? It's the DeadEndRoad Show. This is episode 20. Does that say 8?
Yeah, 28.
28? Yeah, okay, cool. It's Bill and Ian. Can we get weird? Is that allowed? Can we get weird?
Like as if we're just starting to get weird now?
Yeah, I know, but I feel like we're gonna get really weird, you know?
Sure.
Because this is... we might be experiencing NyQuil Bill at this moment. So I am not feeling the best, but we're gonna keep trucking along because I've pushed off recording for 4 days or something. I don't even know what.
It's only been 2 days. But
has it really? It feels like it feels like it's been like a week. But yeah, because I'm slowly getting better. But yeah, so we're going to be pushing through because we got a lot of stuff here that I really want to get into. But it might get weird, so I just want people to be prepared for that. So yeah. So we have a dead wrong here, but this might be the first case of a dead right.
Mm-hmm.
So I prepared something for that in the case of it being a dead right, I guess.
Is it possible this story is true? Yes, it is.
You're right. It's fact. Yes. Yes. A similar event did take place. You're right. You were right.
Our research found a published report of a similar story.
Yes, it was.
A similar story happened to a young man in the Pacific Northwest about 20 years ago.
Okay.
That's really good. Good job with that one.
So last week there was the TikTok about the Smash Mouth going crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's leaving the band for his mental and physical well-being. And there was the claim that Smash Mouth gave 250,000 people COVID.
Yes, which made us pause.
Yeah, because that's a lot of people. And so I just did a Google search for Smash Mouth gave 250,000 people COVID. And so the first result was this article from Uprocks. And the headline here is, the motorcycle rally where Smash Mouth played COVID reportedly led to a large portion of the U.S. COVID cases. And I did hear about this motorcycle rally. It was the Sturgis thing. In South Dakota, and this was last year. This is September of last year, because there was 450,000 attendees at the rally, and so this was a super spreader that led to 260,000 new cases of COVID-19 at the time.
Wow, so more than half of the people in attendance.
Yes. And Smash Mouth played the rally, and at the rally shouted, "Fuck this COVID shit" on stage.
Okay.
So, yeah.
COVID didn't like that.
Yeah, no.
COVID really didn't like that. They took it out on the audience.
Yeah, COVID was like, all right, let me see what I could do. Watch this. So the claim was true.
Yeah, there's legitimacy there. Unfortunately.
Yeah, so Smash Mouth did in fact give 250,000 people COVID. Although maybe this is a dead wrong also, because I did title the last week's episode "Smash Mouth Steve Gave Me COVID," which I don't know if putting COVID in the title is also good for traction either, in the same vein as Kevin Spacey.
I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, so the numbers will play out, I suppose. What we need is an audio super spreader, is I guess what I'm saying.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. So, anyway, moving on to our horror harvest. I guess this will be our final one because we ran out of time, I suppose.
We did, because this is the final October episode. However, I did just learn that the Palme d'Or winner, Titan, I hope I'm pronouncing, if I'm not pronouncing that right, I'm an idiot, but the wicked, twisted horror film that won the top prize at Cannes just came out on VOD. So, I mean, I don't know if we want to talk about that next week.
Yeah. So the thing is that, like, this was originally a podcast that was predicated on it being somewhat horror news. That was like almost the original concept for it. So, it's not like that we're going to ignore horror content suddenly.
Right.
Now that Halloween passed. So yeah, it would not be out of place. I feel. So, yeah.
Yeah, because that one's a big deal. I've been hearing about that one since the festival in the summer. So, really looking forward to seeing that. Apparently, a woman is like a serial killer, I think, and then also she like falls in love with a car.
Sure.
So, a lot going on, it seems, in that one.
It's the sequel to Cars that Disney was too afraid to make.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You had to leave that one to the French.
Of course. But yeah, so for this final horror harvest, as we're calling it, the host from Bong Joon-ho, famously the director of Parasite from, I guess, a couple years ago now.
Also a Palme d'Or winner.
Yeah.
So what'd you think of this one? Or actually, do you want to give the sort of synopsis?
Yeah, so the brief overview is this is a Korean film and it takes place in Korea, either like on or adjacent to an American military base. It wasn't completely clear. But there are like lots of Americans around. And there's a family, a dad, grandfather, and the kids, the dad's child, and they sort of work and run a snack shop on this riverside area, like this sort of park. The dad's kind of schlubby or whatever. He's kind of a screw up. He's always falling asleep. And one day this area like is attacked by a giant fish sea monster. Or I guess I skipped the preamble.
There's the U.S. Military discards a bunch of toxic chemicals into this river.
Yeah.
And a number of years later, this sea monster is the result of that.
Yeah, and so one day after people chuck a bunch of garbage at the sea monster in the water, it attacks the riverfront. Lots of people die. It kidnaps the little girl.
That's by the way, that's the poster of the movie is the sea monster grabbing the girl.
Yeah.
You know, it's like she's wrapped in its tail, and it's such a cool visual. Especially as it plays out in the movie. Like you see like the far away shot of her just being like whipped out into the river.
Yeah.
Really cool. Anyway. Yeah,
so it takes the little girl. The family assumes that she's been dead and eaten. And then from there, the area is quarantined, and then officials start saying that not only was there this monster attack, that the monster is causing some sort of unknown virus outbreak, and so that they all have to be quarantined because they were in contact with the fish monster. And then hijinks ensue. Yes. Yeah. So then hijinks ensue from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. I was really into it the whole way. Because this was like a movie from 2006, and I would imagine as like a Korean film, that the budget would not be as high as any kind of, like this is not the budget of Kong versus Godzilla, right?
Right.
But the fish monster is so much more like immediate and believable. Just the way that it is presented, and there are like some shots where it's like, oh, that looks kind of ridiculous, but it's filmed in such a way that gives it like this immediacy that it doesn't just look like CGI slapped together.
Yeah, this movie proves that great direction will always be better than throwing a bunch of money at a movie.
Yeah.
Doing a lot with a limited amount, know? Because I'm not somebody that will typically gravitate towards like the monster movie genre, mostly because a lot of them are, not good, right? Like there's just like it's a flood. There's a flood of just like bad horror monster movies. But when it comes from someone like Bong Joon-ho, you know that you're in for something really well directed, and he's able to take advantage of like the environment, like the river and the the sewers, this whole sewage system, and the area, like the beach, not the beach, but the area surrounding the river. He's able to make use of all that. And then also, like, at its core, it's a it's a movie about this. It's a small scale movie about this family too.
Yeah.
Like the monster is almost beside the point. For everything it's trying to say, like it goes far beyond just like this monster attack, right? So it's a movie that's doing a lot of different things.
Yeah, and the action sequences have such a clarity to them and a sense of purpose. Like they're shot so well that you can see where it's going and you see the point of them. It's not just like this muddled flurry of destruction and like there's a point Spectacle. To all of it. Yeah. There's like at the beginning, whenever the dad is like throwing that sign at the monster and everything, it's like it's all character driven. It has a point to it. It's not just like look at the fish monster going crazy.
And the fish monster is a character too.
Yeah.
Which was really great. Like it has like almost an arc on its own too. Yeah, no, this reminded me of like Del Toro stuff, where I was thinking of The Shape of Water a number of times.
Yeah, where it's like this is a character, this has a purpose of being here. It is not just, shapeless, nameless, well, it is nameless, but like antagonistic gross creature thing, Yeah, and it's also like allegorically it's working on so many different levels where it's like, this is a movie in 2006. The chemical spill or dumping, I guess would be a more accurate term, was 2002. Like this is all clearly Iraq War allegories for U.S. interventionism.
Yes, because like everything happening in this movie is in South Korea, but the problems here are caused by America.
Yeah. Well, it's like no, and it's like Korea knows this too, like because there isn't a country that the U.S. doesn't stick its fucking dick in. Yeah, like, and so there's that allegory going on, and then it was strange watching this in 2021 because at the beginning you think it's a monster movie, and then at a certain point it sort of turns into a pandemic movie. And then it sort of goes back to being a monster movie, but like for a second there, it's a pandemic movie, where they're concerned about this virus and handling this potential virus, and then turns out the virus is fake, but they're like trying to get a handle on it, blah 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 blah, like all this kinds of shit. And then there's mass protests, and it's like, okay, all right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was very timely.
Yeah.
A really funny scene, just like it was, kind of a throwaway scene, but I was really amused by it, was when they're, the news reports are talking about the virus and everything, and then it's like it cuts to in the city and they're outside and there's a bunch of people waiting at a bus stop, and this one guy starts like hacking up a lung.
Yes.
And he takes his mask off and he like spits into the road, but then like immediately a bus comes by and like splashes up the water from the road onto the crowd of people.
Yeah.
So it's like this it's like conveying this the fear of like spread, like the fear of being contaminated that's going throughout the city.
Yeah, it was so strange where there's like, oh yeah, there was this monster, and by the way, it has a virus. The U.S. told us, and then all of a sudden the next scene is like, oh, everybody's in masks.
Yeah,
it's just like, okay,
yeah.
All right, yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm. It didn't take them long. No.
Yeah,
because that's like normalized in other places where it's not normalized in the U.S.
Right,
and it doesn't have like people actively fighting against it for no reason.
Right. Yeah, because that's a thing in like in Asian countries where like even in non-pandemic times,
if you're just not feeling well,
you wear a mask so you don't spread your own shit.
Yeah,
it's just a courtesy thing.
And I've heard people in America say that they're going to adopt that even when the pandemic isn't as much of even when the virus isn't as much of a concern. Like they'll still do that, like in the winter especially.
Yeah, it makes sense. Like, yeah. I only see it as a benefit. But it's like you look at these Asian countries and like they've been through like what, bird flu and SARS and like all that other shit. It's like they know, what this is like. They've been through this shit. So it's also working like as an allegory for that kind of thing too. And yeah, it also reminded me a lot of Shin Godzilla, because that was like sort of a unique take on Godzilla, where it is like sort of like the Veep of Godzilla movies, where it's like a look at the bureaucratic response to a kaiju attack, rather than just like what you would normally think of like that a monster movie being.
Right.
So yeah, like I got parallels to that, and in fact, they probably came out like around the same time. When did Shin Godzilla come out? So it's funny that they oh, never mind. No, Shin Godzilla came out 10 years later. So yeah, so like this, I wouldn't be surprised if shit, what's his name? The Evangelion guy who directed Shin Godzilla took some cues from this for Shin Godzilla.
Sure.
But yeah, definitely similar vibes to just the response to like I don't want to necessarily say grounded, because it's kind of hard to say grounded whenever there's a raging fish monster, but just like
no, but I know what you mean though.
Yeah, sort of like maybe like a humanistic response to like what would happen. Because it's easy to say, it's like, oh, why wouldn't you just nuke the damn thing? Or it's like, well, it's like, no, that wouldn't really happen. It's sort of like, yeah, they kind of quarantine and blah, 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 and they'd probably make some shit up and kind of not know what to do and keep fucking it up. Because so much of the movie, like the little asides that felt sort of throwaway but were actually kind of crucial is that like the U.S. keeps blaming Korea for not being able to contain the monster and also to contain the fake virus that isn't actually real. And so that kind of carries through the entire thing. And so like, there's like the sniping back and forth between nations. Like
it's so smart because while all that's going on in the background, they're able to focus in on this family taking matters into their own hands, right? Because this man's daughter, the way that they find out that she's not dead, this is the girl who was swept away by the monster in the beginning. She comes across a cell phone and she's able to call while they're quarantined away. So then the family is able to sneak out of the hospital, the quarantine area, and basically go out on their own and try and track her down and rescue her.
Yeah.
So it's like you have this small family setting out against this monster while the government is just like, you know, back and forth with America and like nothing's getting done, right? The family takes it upon themselves, which is really cool.
Yeah, like one of the because there's this is also a deeply funny movie as well. For
it is
it's gonna sound so fucking trite and lame, but like this movie really does have everything, because it's a very funny movie, but it's also like there's some tragic ass shit too, and it's able to balance everything so well. But like one of the funniest fucking scenes is whenever he's like in the father is in the hospital, and because they're conducting all these tests on him because they're saying that he has this virus because he touched the sea monster, and this American dude comes in and he's like, you know, why didn't you tell the police? Why didn't you contact a newspaper? Why didn't you contact a humanitarian agency about your daughter being alive? And the father is like, because nobody would fucking listen. Nobody is listening to my words. Why won't you hear my words? And then the American guy just goes, oh yeah, he's completely lost it. He's demented.
Yep.
And in that way, it reminded me of something like Dr. Strangelove from Kubrick, where there's just like you're surrounded by these incompetent, eccentric like government types, you know, trying to get.
That's a really good comparison.
Yeah, like trying to get a handle on a crisis, and they're just like flailing around. Because that's what that U.S. dude really reminded me of, was like a character from Dr. Strangelove. Yeah, it's able to balance just like some hilarious shit, and then just some really just tragic stuff too.
Yeah, it's pretty stunning when you look at the whole thing. It's like. He's just, you know, he's a master of his crafts. I'm somebody who only was very late to the Bong Joon-ho party, right? Because I jumped on the Parasite train and then I went back and watched some older ones. But you know, he's been making these terrific films for like, I don't know, like almost 3 decades now.
Right.
Yeah, he's terrific.
Yeah. But yeah, if people haven't been watching along, you should definitely check this, because it's on Hulu, which I did not realize. So
yeah, it is. I should probably mention, because I mentioned to you, it's on Hulu. It's also on Amazon Prime Video, but for whatever reason, the quality of the movie on Prime Video is pretty poor.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, saying standard def is almost generous, because it's like it's standard def, but then also like the frame rate seems very off. Like it's just, I don't know where they got that that copy from, but the only difference I could tell was that the version on Hulu opens with the Magnolia title card.
Oh.
And so I guess like the one on Prime isn't the Magnolia version.
Yeah, different distributor or something.
Different, yeah. So there's just something to, you know, keep in mind if you are seeking this one out.
Yeah. Yeah, because the version I originally got, because I didn't know it was on Hulu, because I guess we forgot to mention that last week.
Yeah, I've been bad about that.
Yeah, I mean, it happens. The version I got didn't come with subtitles, because I was originally confused because the first scene is spoken in English. And so I was like, oh, okay, maybe he made, sort of a mass, he had like English backing or whatever, and he made a movie in English. And then the very next scene is two Korean guys speaking, and it wasn't subtitled. And I was like, okay, is this meant to be subtitled, or is this a scene where you're supposed to kind of infer what's going on? And then I don't think
his English movie came until Snowpiercer. With Chris Evans.
Yeah. So the Hulu version is correct and subtitled and everything else. Because I actually had quite a Korean week because I watched the Squid Game.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, but I got a fan sub for it.
Nice.
Because of the whole subtitles, the translation issue that we talked about maybe 2 weeks ago. Maybe that was last week. I'm not sure. So I watched that while I was like sick and dying.
Did you like it? Should I be like the last person on earth to finally watch that?
I thought it was good. I mean, it's not anything like I guess earth-shattering or anything, I would say. I think a reason, like, I'm not saying it's like, overrated or anything like that. I just think that it's probably gaining a lot is probably underselling its steam, is because it might be people's first experience to any kind of like death game battle royale kind of thing. Like aside from like like video game battle royales, but
sure,
where they haven't seen something like the original battle royale movie, or even stuff like Danganronpa, or there's like a million anime that are like death game oriented like this, where it's last person standing gets to walk home, or gets a prize or whatever. There was like a shitty one that I watched a few years ago that was called like King's Game or something like that. There's a lot of them. So like I think if you haven't seen something like that before, you're gonna be like, oh wow, this is really fucking cool and fresh and whatever. And I'm not saying that Squid Game isn't like something different, especially for probably like TV. But yeah, it's not like I don't know, like this immaculate thing, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that piqued my interest a bit, I've heard about with this, is that it's like an anti-capitalist commentary.
Yeah, it is.
And is that kind of like inherent with the sort of subgenre that it, like the whole battle royale thing? Is that kind of like what you see in a lot of them?
I think it kind of has to be.
Right, yeah.
Because it's sort of a critique on like survival of the fittest Darwinian shit, Yeah. So yeah, I think at its core it has to be. Like whenever you talk specifically about this is a battle royale between characters that are deeply in debt, and in debt for specific reasons, whether that it's like medical expenses or unemployment, or a combination, all kinds of different circumstances that they have, then the critique is glaringly obvious.
Yeah.
And it works, obviously. So yeah, I think that it's hitting at also an appropriate time where people are extremely disgruntled, and there's a lot of fucking problems going on, man. So yeah, I think that is also working in its favor, and it's also pretty stylish. Like it's colorful. It's got a lot going on in like that way, and it has some interesting kind of set pieces. and I hate to say it, there's like an Among Us factor to it, where like there are some recognizable like outfits or whatever, like almost like the little Among Us dudes, where I think like a lot of kids would sort of like recognize and hone in on that like immediately, where it's like, oh, that's a Squid Game, you know, like that kind of thing. So I think that is what kind of propelled it into this, you know, like stratospheric, everybody and their mother's talking about it kind of thing.
So how long do you think until the Squid Game skins come to Fortnite?
Oh, they've got to have been talking with Netflix already.
Yeah, because just this weekend, they released Resident Evil skins.
Okay.
Just a couple days after they released Dune skins. So yeah, I'd have to imagine the talks have been happening.
Yeah, they have to. The other thing I'm disappointed about is that it ends the first season. Like, I'm not gonna like sort of spoil it, but it ends with some obvious continuation. Where like I didn't feel like it needed it.
Welcome to television in 2021.
I know.
That happens far too often.
I really thought that this would be a one-off. Like even not even factoring in its popularity, that was just like watching it, the sense I got, and knowing how this genre like usually goes. And yeah, I don't really see a need for. You know, it accomplished its critique. It did it. Mm-hmm. So I don't really see a need for more. I don't know.
Yeah, it's so weird because it happens so much in TV now, and it's like we're in a time where it's really hard to have like a 6 or 7 season run of a show, like a serialized show, right? Like that just doesn't happen anymore. It's mostly the focus is on limited series. Mm-hmm. But then, because like the networks are like, okay, we can make a limited series, we can get some big names on it that don't need to commit long term, and that's like the model that they like to do now. But as soon as the show takes off in popularity, it's like, oh, but we need to make more. Yep. So it's like they're stuck in between two places where they want to make the limited series, not have the commitment, but then they want to continue it on when it's successful. Yep. So, and usually that hurts the storytelling because, like you just said, it typically the follow up to that limited series, like there are exceptions to this, but typically they are not as good and they are not really necessary.
Yeah. So what I was imagining, like having not seen it, and then like sort of as I was working my way through it, was I was not anticipating a continuation or like any kind of cliffhanger or whatever. I was expecting, and there isn't a cliffhanger, by the way, so that's not a spoiler. I was expecting, since it's so fucking popular, Netflix would be like, okay, yep, we need more of this, and so it would be another season with a whole separate cast, blah 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 blah. It's like, oh, this is another Squid Game, this is another death game, you know, blah blah blah. But then the show actually ends with, it's like, oh, okay, well, this story is going to continue, and it's like, I don't know about that though. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
Well, I guess if you know that it's gonna happen anyway, right? Because like after this thing blew up, Netflix was going to want more. So at least from the creator's perspective, there is an intention to create more, right?
Yeah.
Which I think is probably a bit better than having them come back without necessarily wanting to or having plans to in the first place.
Yeah, I think the thing was that he's been trying to make it for like 10 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and like nobody would bite.
Oh man, all the execs that passed up on this one.
Exactly, yeah.
Ooh boy.
Yeah. And now it's like, okay, how many battle royale shows are we gonna get now? Yeah. But yeah, I think it's good. I think it's worth the watch. the other funny thing is that I think, do you remember in the protest where like those two characters kind of like pop up out of nowhere, and then they like die in the host?
Yes.
I think one of them is in Squid Game. The girl.
Okay, yeah, she was. It was a really unfortunate, small little character arc she had there.
Yeah, it was like a strange cameo. So I guess she must be like famous or something.
Oh, that must be it. That would make a lot more sense.
Yeah, because like they literally kind of just like popped up in frame, like Jack in the Box style. Like it was like, and then I was like, oh wait, is she from Squid Game? I was like, oh, I think I recognize her.
Yeah, that whole thing makes a lot more sense in the host, as if that's a famous cameo.
I think that's probably the case, because otherwise it was like, who are these guys? Yeah. But yeah, that's gonna be it for the official horror harvest for this time. But that's not gonna stop us from talking about movies, shit like that. I snuck this in at the bottom actually, and we can skip this or whatever if you haven't seen it. Did you watch the Halloween movie?
No, I actually still haven't seen the previous one from a couple of years ago.
All right, then we won't talk about it.
I mean, you can. Like, honestly, I don't know if I will anytime soon. So if you had something to say about it,
I mean, only if you had seen it. I don't really have much to say.
No.
Well, it would be like Whiplash going from a movie that is so clear in its theming and metaphors, and then a movie that is so fucking muddled in trying to convey some kind of message as Halloween Kills. Because they kind of want to turn Michael Myers into like a Trump figure. It was.
Oh no!
It was some weird shit, man. It was some weird shit.
Oh no!
There was mob justice. There was we can't trust our institutions. It was weird. It's weird. But then like the kills are fun. Like the kills in Halloween Kills are fun.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
I'm glad it lives up to the name in that way.
Yeah, and then it's good because it's just Michael Myers just doing his thing. He's just going around, doesn't give a shit. And then there's all these people trying to ham-fistedly maybe make political commentary that doesn't really make a lot of sense. It's weird. It's really weird. I think they got warped by pandemic post-Trump. It's a weird one.
So nothing you just said there makes me want to watch that any more than I already did. So
well, it's only like an hour and a half.
Is it?
Yeah. Okay. If it was like 2 hours, it would not be worth it. But it's like an hour and a half. I enjoyed the previous one. The I guess it's not a reboot. Like the continuation with Jamie Lee Curtis.
That one just managed to slip by me.
I enjoyed it.
I think maybe what it was for me is that I always intended to watch it around Halloween. And I just never did. So it's like any other month. I'm like, well, I can't watch this now.
I know. It's like the one horror movie series where it's like, it has to be in October. Otherwise it feels really off. Anything else is like fair game.
Yeah, I'll have to see if that first one is streaming anywhere, because I know that this new one is like a Peacock, exclusive.
It's Peacock for a limited time. Yeah.
Christ. Yeah, it's a Peacock exclusive.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe that'll be the thing that'll get people to subscribe, is a Halloween sequel exclusive.
I saw they expanded the number of free Office seasons you can watch.
Yeah.
It's now 1 through 5 instead of like, I don't know, the first season and a half or whatever the hell they had.
Okay, well that's like all you need to watch, really.
It really is, yeah. It's definitely the best of them.
Yeah. I guess that's probably like ad supported, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I was gonna suggest if we had any more Horror Harvest time left, if we could run down the premiere episode of the Demi Lovato ghost hunting show, because I'm pretty sure Peacock gives out like the first episode or two of its originals, for free.
Oh, yeah.
So
you gotta try before you buy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We ran out of time. It's
too late.
Yep. It'll be lost.
Yeah, I was looking into the Beans story.
Yeah, do you want to do that one?
I would like to. I think it's fascinating.
I thought it would be up your alley. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So I saw this on the internet last week. This is from the Wall Street Journal. A mysterious rise in cases of teen girls with sudden severe physical tics, including jerking motions and verbal outbursts, and sometimes blurting out the word sometimes blurting out the word beans, led doctors to TikTok. Now, so there's a rise in teenage girls that are having tics, like people with Tourette syndrome.
Right, but this is not Tourette syndrome.
No, not specifically, and not in most cases. So there, a lot of hospitals. There are some specifically linked here, like the Texas Children's Hospital. Since March 2020, has reported seeing approximately 60 teens with such tics. Where before the pandemic, they saw maybe 1 or 2 cases a year. Johns Hopkins University Tourette Center, 10% to 20% of pediatric patients have described acute onset tic-like behaviors, up from 2 to 3% a year before the pandemic. So there's a huge jump in the number of reported tic cases where they're having unusual sudden movements. And so the one thing that all these cases have in common is that the teen girls are on TikTok. Now, the one thing I have an issue with is that, well, yes,
everybody's on TikTok.
Yes, of course, all the teenage girls would be on TikTok. Yes.
Yeah.
So of course they have that.
Well,
in common.
I think what's important to mention here is that there are still so many unknowns, like medically,
Yes.
What causes what, where these things derive from. Like there's just a lot that's not known right now, which is part of what's so interesting about it, and also frustrating for the people that are going through it.
Yeah. So what is happening in some of the cases, there's a specific girl in this piece. I didn't get her name, but it doesn't really matter. She's a minor anyway. So she has anxiety and depression, and so she would go onto YouTube and TikTok and search for things related to that, anxiety, whatever. And so then her feed would start getting filled up with people talking about anxiety, and then it would sort of move into other things like Tourette syndrome and then people with tics. And so then she would be getting people with tics in her feed.
Yeah, the name for that sub community in TikTok, right?
No.
It's called TikTok, but it's TIC.
Oh, God fucking damn it.
Yeah, so that's it's a big thing. It's a big community on there.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of TikTok users that and I say TikTok, I mean TIC.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
It's hard to like differentiate verbally, but
TikTok. Yeah.
But there's a lot of users that will go on there and they will, it brings I love it because it brings awareness to like Tourette's or people with tics, and it also like helps, I think, normalize it. Yeah. Like a lot of what I like about TikTok is that it has these various communities of like where people will talk about like their mental illness or their disabilities, and you'll see stories where like people are not only learning about these various things, but they're also like putting names to the disorders, or they're like actually realizing that, oh, I have this too, or I experienced this too, whereas like they'd never been able to like diagnose themselves, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So like there's just like a lot of stuff on TikTok that I think normalizes like disabilities and like mental illness and disorders and whatnot. And it's just when it's good, it's like a very accepting community, you know? I mean, obviously it's the internet, so
sure,
your mileage varies there, but like from what I've seen, like there's a lot of positivity surrounding those things.
The problem though is that some of the doctors are questioning whether some of the influencers on TikTok actually have Tourette's, which is normally whenever people are when it's just armchair doctors questioning somebody's, you know, disability or illness, it's like, come on, that's really shitty. But if it's actually doctors that are like thinking that something's up, that's a different story, I would say.
So this I actually haven't heard about. I haven't actually heard questioning. Like there's been a lot of unknowns as to like why these. I mean, can you call it like an outbreak almost? I don't know how you would describe it, but like how all these new cases are coming up, like what's causing it. But I haven't actually heard like allegations of like faking Tourette's.
This is from the Wall Street Journal piece. Many doctors question the stated diagnoses of some Tourette TikTokers and say the behaviors that these mostly female influencers display in their videos, multiple complex motor and verbal tics, don't look like Tourette syndrome to them. Tourette syndrome affects far more boys than girls and tends to develop gradually over time from a young age. Also, can be treated with medication.
Well, that the whole gender difference, right, is talked about a lot because in this case it is mostly girls being affected.
Yeah.
But then isn't it also possible that like Tourette's or any other sort of like tic case can manifest differently in girls and just hasn't been diagnosed to the degree that it has in males?
Yeah, this next paragraph goes on. Regardless of the TikTokers' claims, this is one of the specific doctors. Dr. Gilbert said the symptoms of the teens who have watched them are real and likely represent functional neurological disorders, a class of afflictions that includes certain vocal tics and abnormal body movements that aren't tied to an underlying disease. To unlearn these tics, doctors recommend cognitive behavioral therapy and tell patients to stay off TikTok for several weeks.
Interesting.
Yeah. And so this isn't like whenever you see the headline, it's really easy to meme and think like, oh, what, they developed tics from like watching TikTok dances, and it's like, no, that isn't actually what's going on. They're watching people with tics, and then they're developing their own that are mimicking those tics.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've actually heard of this from people that have Tourette's online, where if you're around other people with Tourette's, their tics will trigger like your own tics.
Yeah.
Even if you're not doing the same thing as them, like your own like personal tics will just like trigger. And then it's sort of like I saw a video where like even they were on video chat or whatever, and so it just kind of created like this almost never-ending loop of them all triggering each other with their tics.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, yeah, so like this one doctor saying like these girls seem to have some kind of underlying neurological issue that is then being brought out by watching videos of people with tics. It's just kind of odd that they're mimicking the very specific tics.
Yeah. Because I'm assuming in the case of Tourette's, like the one person with Tourette's will not mimic the other. They'll be doing their own tic that they've already had. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so like, but like, I don't think doctors still know exactly like what is the cause here, right? Because I've seen speculation that this could be brought on by stress, which, like, I mean, in the past 2 years, there's been a lot of that, right?
Yeah.
So like, what have you seen?
So based on this article, it's saying that pretty much all of them had an underlying psychological condition, like diagnosed psychological condition, whether that was anxiety, depression, ADHD, something previously diagnosed. So there was some kind of stressor already there. And whether that is, something completely neurological, I don't know. I'm not a doctor. It seems like they haven't found like the root cause. And so instead they're just sort of treating the symptoms as if they, like just treating the tics as they would, if they didn't, if they knew the cause. I don't even think they know like what causes Tourette's, in general. Like, I think it's probably genetic, right?
I think the big frustration here is that there isn't even a name for what these girls are experiencing right now. Yeah. Right? Because it's not Tourette's. Like it would be one thing to show up to a doctor and be like, oh, you have Tourette's, but your symptoms look like they are Tourette's, but they're not. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, what you're kind of stuck. It's like, where do you go from here? Right.
Here's another interesting one. Dr. Olvera, who studied 3,000 TikTok videos as part of her research, also found that 19 of the 28 most followed Tourette influencers on TikTok reported developing new tics as a result of watching other creators' videos.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because like the way the algorithm works, like the more you interact with that community, the more it's going to pop up on your For You page. So you're in it, and then you're in it even deeper.
Yeah.
So there's like no way for you to like avoid those videos if you're on the platform.
Yeah, this is really fascinating.
Yeah, but like, I don't know about that solution. I mean, their doctors are obviously doing what they can and they're going off of what they know. But like, asking teenagers to be off of TikTok, I don't know if that's going to be effective.
Right. Yeah. Well, they said for a few weeks because like empirically, what are they going to do? Like, they didn't have the tics. Then they were on TikTok. Then they have the tics.
Yeah.
The thing you would do would be to cut out the TikTok, right? Like sure. But that's just in addition. Like the one girl, like is given this workbook of things to work on to help her manage the tics. This one doctor says that they should take up sports so they can have a physical activity to help with the tics. Mm-hmm. So yeah, there are. The one girl said that she's watching ADHD videos on TikTok, but has stopped watching tic videos instead. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's fascinating, and to just see like what the weird side effects of an algorithm can do.
I know. Yeah.
Like,
there's obviously a lot of talk about like the Facebook algorithm turning people more right wing and like the whole political aspects, right? But like this is something quite different.
Yeah, where it'll like just drill down because these are people that were searching for anxiety or ADHD, and so then the algorithm is like, okay, mental health, and so then it's like,
yeah,
okay,
no,
right.
I mean, I ended up with TIC TikTok videos on my page for quite a while.
Yeah, so then if this is, like you said, a big community, then the algorithm is going to find that and serve that to people that are looking for mental health. Mm-hmm. And so then it's just in the case of these girls where they have some kind of underlying, I don't know what the right word is, predilection or whatever, like, something going on or neurologically where it triggered a response like this. It's just it's just weird to think about if they weren't on the app,
or maybe
would this have happened, or would they have seen it on YouTube? Would the same thing have happened?
Another thing I've seen people speculate is it also the app in combination with being isolated due to the pandemic? Because if you're at home most of your day and you're not interacting with people, then being on TikTok and like YouTube, that is like your interaction, right? Like that is what you're seeing and hearing for the most part.
Right.
So it's like even more prominent in your life.
There was one girl in this article who said that her friends also started developing tics, and then she said that she didn't know if they got it from her or if they were also watching videos.
Oh wow.
And I wish the article would have gone further into that, like see what was going on there. Maybe they couldn't get in touch with those kids or their parents, but I don't know, because what you would think that it wouldn't be as prevalent, like those numbers of like the cases rising in these specialist centers is pretty remarkable. But then if you do think it's like, well, yeah, if they only had one or two and then going up to 60, it's not like there's that is a huge jump, but it's not like these are hundreds and hundreds of teenagers, right? This is still pretty small scale.
Like I knew that TIC TikTok was a thing, but I did not know that this was happening in addition to it until just this week, until you put the story in the show notes.
Yeah.
So it's really fascinating. I don't know like what the end result of this could be on like TikTok side. Whether it's like, the only thing I can think of is like maybe like a content warning would need to be applied, at the start of like videos involving tics. But like that could be for some users, like that could be like every single video that they make, right? So it's, I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah, in a way that would be like shunning and exiling.
It would, yeah. I'm just like off the top of my head here. That's really not a solution.
I know, but yeah, like what would be, like because what like change the algorithm to, I don't know. Yeah. Because it goes back to the same thing. It's like, well, if the girls weren't on TikTok, would they still have eventually developed tics?
I mean, you just mentioned a case where it could be, it could be given to friends in real life. So it's really hard to say.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
It would be one thing if this was happening in like a normal, quote unquote normal year, but like, you factor in, the pandemic, social distancing, stressors, also like environment changes, kids' school lives being upended. Like there's just so many factors. Yep. Yeah. But yeah, definitely something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Like from a medical perspective, I'm just fascinated by it.
No, yeah, it definitely is. Yeah, that's why I want to bring it up. And we can't go a single episode without mentioning TikTok anymore.
No, we can't. We can't.
But this time it was me. So, let's get into it. All right. So, I saw this the other day. But this story is actually from a few months ago. There was this bizarre cult that was called Love Has Won, and their leader called herself Mother God. And I'm always fascinated by cults, and specifically what like they try to base their belief system around. And this one is particularly fascinating because the cult leader died in April, and police found her mummified body wrapped up in Christmas lights.
Okay.
With glitter smeared on the eye sockets, and her eyes popped out of the body.
Ooh.
Yeah, and she was in a shrine. So yeah, the leader was Amy Carlson. She called herself Mother God. And what they would post a lot of videos and do daily live streams on YouTube. And they would sell like crystals and health supplements online. They were somehow a 501c3 charity,
Okay.
which is fun. Let me see if I can get the. They were selling a 13D plasma generator pyramid for $444.44.
I've been looking for one of those. They're hard to find.
Yeah. You gotta pay a premium though.
Yeah.
Carlson, the cult leader, also offered etheric surgeries, which would be performed remotely. She claimed she was a spiritual surgeon who would work multi-dimensionally to operate on people's bodies and cure various ailments. She claimed she could cure cancer, remove brain tumors, and could help cure autism, which is...
Okay.
Yeah.
Nothing that needs to be cured, but all right.
Uh-huh. And the cult leader was also taking colloidal silver, which was turning her body blue. And it was also killing her because silver is poisonous when ingested. You're not supposed to take it orally. You're not supposed to take it at all. She claimed that she was God incarnate and had lived 534 lifetimes, including the lives of Jesus Christ, Cleopatra, Marilyn Monroe, and Joan of Arc.
Wait, I mean, if you believe in reincarnation, like, what are the odds? What are the odds of you being each of those? Like, what a streak.
Yeah, it's
what a run.
It's pretty lucky. She also claimed she was Donald Trump's daughter in a past life.
Well, that's out of left field.
Yeah, and that the deceased comedian Robin Williams was part of her spiritual team and often communicated messages to her from the beyond. So I don't really understand. She was Donald Trump's daughter in a past life. So does that mean he has a dead daughter?
I mean, it's possible. Like
I don't understand. Like what?
I wouldn't rule it out.
Like, what is that? Like, the timeline is like doesn't make sense to me. Like the old shit. It's like, okay, yeah, you're Jesus, you're Cleopatra, you're Marilyn Monroe. Like, those are all dead people. You know, so you're reincarnated because you're alive right now. But if you're Donald Trump's daughter,
have we checked up on Ivanka lately? Like, she hasn't been in the news, but I just assume that was because he's out of office. But
Love Has Won believes that ordinary people were in a state of 3D consciousness, while members of the group had transcended to the higher level of 5D consciousness.
Wow.
Just skipping right past the 4D. They're playing 5D dimensional chess. Okay, and so she would take many partners, and every one of her partners would be called Father God, since she was Mother God.
Sure.
And so she was basically on her deathbed for a while, and on her deathbed, she was like dying from some kind of like silver poison, and she was also this raging alcoholic. She would just yell shit, and I do have a clip here.
It wasn't beans, was it?
I don't think so.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Take me down.
This is a weird video. She's taking a shot of something. It's either alcohol or maybe silver. I don't know.
You are in fucking treason on this planet. This is my planet. Your step, I don't know. My family, who birthed me into this fucking reality of illusion. Step forward. You are in fucking treason for all of humanity. And if you don't, you're gone. Thank you, God. Because I am God.
Thank you, God, because I am God. So yeah. She had a previous Father God said that he had to be a vessel for Father God's consciousness, and the role of Father God was to be Carlson's partner romantically and as a leader. And here's a quote from him. To tell you the truth, I had no intentions of being in a relationship with her. I mean, no offense, but she's not my type.
Amazing.
And of course, there are abuse allegations because basically she would basically say that like anybody would have to like in the cult would have to have sex with her just because she ordered it. And the same was
pretty
true.
Standard practice, right?
Yeah, just the same was true for whoever was her current Father God. And the very last Father God, this Castillo guy, he claimed that his existence could be traced back 477.5 trillion years. So not that he existed 477.5 trillion years, but that he could trace it back that far.
Mm-hmm.
Also that humans
must have a photographic memory.
Yeah. Humans come from Venus, and he has 3 hearts.
Wow.
And he described the role of Father God as the master of darkness.
Do you think you could put like former Father God on your job resume?
Maybe. I mean, it kind of sounds impressive.
It does, right?
Yeah.
Like I'd almost be on board with this just to get the title.
Right? Yeah.
A little bit. Like I'm intrigued. Like I know this is how people get like dragged into cults, but I'm kind of intrigued.
I mean, there's a lot of stupid shit I do in Final Fantasy 14 just for the title. So
there you go.
If I could walk around as Father God.
just don't be in treason.
Yeah, no, you can't be in treason. There's one video where Castillo threatens another member saying you're going to be a paraplegic. Yeah, the part of the cult split. There's another cult called Joy Reigns now. There's another video where they lock a child in a closet. Let's see.
For how long?
I don't know.
Okay.
Oh yeah, another thing they would do is whenever they would kick somebody out of the cult, they would just abandon them in the woods naked. Oh yeah,
isn't that like a reality show on VH1 or something?
Yeah, naked and kicked out of a cult. Yeah,
there you go.
This guy they ditched in the mountains naked. after the group abandoned him, they said that he didn't have the right energy. Oh my god.
So like what I mean, you've given a lot of information, but I'm not quite sure, and this is not your fault. I'm sure it's all on them, but like what is their mission statement here? Like what is their whole deal? Like why does this cult exist?
Oh, it's the usual shit. They're gonna ascend or whatever.
Oh, okay.
And I guess they're gonna go to the 5D.
Oh, the 5 dimension, yeah.
Yeah.
Dimension.
Yeah. It's very loosely defined. Let me see if I can pull up the
They should just write a screenplay.
Well, the thing the thing with cults is that a lot of cult leaders are actually failed actors.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
So yeah, you're not far off. Let me see. This was from the lovehaswon.org website, which has now been taken down, but it's archived. Hello, loves. I am Mother God. For quite some time, you had been praying that I come back to help you. Because of that, I had decided I had enough of the dark forces kidnapping my planets and my children. So here I am in the flesh. I was born on November 30th, 1975 in Kansas, USA. This is my 534th reincarnation in my quest to recover my beloved planet, the center of the universe, and the first planet I created. They tried to assassinate me 589 times in this lifetime, but love has won. I love you. I've done my part, and now you have to get a move on because you wasted eons thinking you had a life under the manipulation of the cabal, who used you like cattle. Get a move on because this planet is ascending, and you need to reconnect with the prime source creator, me, so that you can ignite your light bodies and can protect you again. You are either with me or against me. The experiment of free will has been declared a failure. It is void. Everything exists under divine will once more. Thank God, LOL, get a move on. And then
LOL.
And then there's a picture of her in a purple dress doing a little namaste pose.
I appreciate
Holy
the
shit.
moment of brevity there with thank God, LOL.
The experiment of free will has been declared a failure. It is void. LOL. Jesus Christ. Whew.
Sounds like a character that the characters on What We Do in the Shadows would like encounter, who's like adjacently related to vampires.
Yeah.
Like the vampire community. That's what this person reminds me of.
Yeah. Her family appeared with her on an episode of Dr. Phil, which I didn't have time to watch.
How could you not squeeze that in?
I know.
I don't care if you had a fever.
I know. Yeah, they had New Age mysticism with beliefs about galactic beings and planetary ascension, and plus a hint of QAnon-style conspiracy theories, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, so now there are two splintered cults out of this after the death of... Oh, wait, where's the thing about the hospital? That was really hilarious. Let me get that. Because she was like fucking dying and was like 80 pounds.
So there's no successor to Mother God.
There's Father God is still there. But I think he's kind of not running the show really. So like I think these two cults like splintered off. Mm-hmm. Okay. Carlson often said she had stage 5 cancer, which does not exist. Cancer is typically measured in stages 1 through 4.
Yeah, but in the 5th dimension.
I guess that's true. According to her family, she never received a cancer diagnosis. Continued to consume copious amounts of alcohol. It's 11 a.m. and she's shit-faced drunk, and you're getting her another drink. Carlson's heavy drinking was a form of pain relief. Carlson never saw a doctor. It's unclear what caused her health problems or whether her death could have been prevented with medical treatment. Members of the group said. There's a video where she asks to be taken to a hospital, And there's a quote. There's been moments that mom has asked us to take her to a hospital. Oh, so I'm sorry. There's been moments that mom has asked us to take her to a 3D hospital, and we're like, nope. When asked about this, Aurora, who's one of these people, said Carlson was joking about going to a hospital and claimed that Carlson had signed 3 documents saying never to take her to a hospital under any circumstances. There was wellness checks, and the police would show up, and they would knock, and they would say that she wasn't there, and so they would just leave.
Okay.
The group described her death as an ascension, which said it was part of her plan. Castillo, who was the last father god, said he transported her body from California to their compound in Colorado to be her final resting place. He and 6 other members were subsequently arrested and charged with the abuse of a corpse.
Yeah, do we know any details about like why they popped her eyes out or like, sprayed glitter on her or anything like that?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
No. All their shit is so very vague.
Mm-hmm.
It's just very new agey crystal shit. But yeah. I thought that was pretty interesting. I'm always interested in cults. Yeah. That was Mother God. Don't drink silver.
No. No, that's a good rule.
What's this Bones Day thing?
Oh, yeah, it's another TikTok thing.
Oh, God.
So I checked right before we started recording to see whether today would be a Bones Day or a no Bones Day.
Okay.
But John Graz, the creator of this whole trend, he has not posted yet today. So let me check now. I'm gonna have to mute you for a second because as soon as I go on TikTok, I hear like The Rock rapping or something. Okay, now, yeah, so we're recording this on the 24th, so there still has not been a Bones update today.
Okay.
You haven't heard of this though?
No.
Yeah, so John Graz on TikTok has this pug, this dog named Noodle.
Okay.
It's this 13-year-old geriatric pug, and he's
I feel like all pugs are born geriatric.
Okay. So he's doing this sort of like Groundhog Day thing with his dog, where each morning he will pick up the pug and set it down on its bed, and whether the dog stands on its own feet or just like completely collapses determines whether the dog has bones or no bones on that given day.
Okay.
And this is really just like taken off, and people are really into it. So like I did save.
What is it? What does it portend? Like, what is the?
Well, see, initially I think there was sort of like a negative stigma surrounding what a no bones day actually means.
Yeah.
But this guy has sort of tried to change the narrative. And so he's turning a no bones day into sort of like a self-care day, right? Like it's not that you're being lazy, but it's just that you're taking the time to think about yourself rather than like getting out there and just, you know, doing stuff, right?
Uh-huh.
So there hasn't been a post today yet, unfortunately. So we won't know whether today lands on a Bones Day or a no Bones Day. But I did provide one example from the other day, so you can see for yourself.
Okay.
Noodle in all of his glory.
Good morning, everyone. I hope you had a wonderful No Bones Day yesterday. I went to do the forecast this morning, and I can't peel him out of his bed. Something happened overnight where he manipulated his density and is somehow now 3 times heavier than he's ever been, and he is shellacked to his bed. So it is another No Bones Day today. And you know what that means. That means today is a day to be kind to yourself. It means you got to use that bath bomb you've been hanging on to. Oh my gosh, but you haven't used because it'll dissolve and everything in it will clog your drain. But like, that's okay. Today's the day to use it. If you're wearing jeans, you got to change out of them. I'm so sorry. No hard pants on a no bones day. I'm wearing my soft pants right now. And you just got to do something nice for yourself today. So I hope you have a wonderful no bones day. Noodle and I are traveling upstate this weekend to hang out with my mom. So we might
we can,
be posting his birthday.
Okay.
I left the Discord. I'm sorry. I don't know if that will affect anything, but I'm back.
Okay.
Yeah, so that actually wasn't the one I meant to show you. That's the one where he couldn't pick him up at all. There was a better one where he does just like Noodle just collapses, which is very, very funny. But you know, that's what's going on TikTok. That's been a big thing the past week. Like even the Colorado Avalanche Twitter account has attributed their losses this week to it being No Bones Day. So
right.
So it's really taken on a following.
You know, people used to like divine things from goat entrails and you know.
Yeah, so I feel like this is a bit more lighthearted than that.
Yeah, but I feel like we've lost something.
Have we?
Yeah, I feel like we have. Like, you could just flip a coin.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's people looking to attribute meaning to their day, or like looking for a reason or a justification
to live.
To continue their existence on this planet that is controlled by Mother God.
Yeah,
but
I don't know, man. Maybe I'm just too much of an asshole, you know?
Yeah, that's probably what it is. I mean, you like to discredit TikTok at every turn, so.
No, I just like this is like just too like soft ooh shit for me, you know?
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I'm too prickly. Yeah. I'm just
kind of curious to see how long it continues on for. You know, like how long people are going to be into it.
Yeah. It'll come out that this dude is racist or something, or you know, and then everybody will be. It'll milkshake duck from there, and it'll be, you know.
And see, that's so unfair because Noodle hasn't done anything wrong.
I'm not saying the dog did anything. I'm saying, you know, just this is how things usually go, you know. Everybody loves milkshake duck.
Yeah, I don't know that reference.
Oh my god. All right, hold on. You don't know milkshake duck? This is... God damn it. This will be cut out, but...
Okay.
Because this is not... Oh my god, it's got a Wikipedia page now? It's a fucking Twitter... It's a tweet. It's got a Wikipedia page? The fuck?
I mean, Zola got a full movie.
I know, but...
Which I just watched last night, by the way.
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
No, not yet. I've had it downloaded. God damn it. Anyway, it's a tweet that just says, "The whole internet loves milkshake duck, a lovely duck that drinks milkshakes." 5 seconds later, we regret to inform you that the duck is racist.
Okay. Yeah.
So whenever something like that happens, it's just called a milkshake duck.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping that's not the case with Noodle and Noodle's owner here. I'm sure it'll be fine.
I'm a pessimist. I don't know. You know?
Yeah. You're expecting the worst.
Exactly.
Anyway, did we have time at all for hockey or no?
Yeah, we could do anything.
Because what you did, because at the top of the show notes, you're like, should we be less topical and limit the, the random stuff that won't be relevant a week later. And then what I did in response to that was, which I think that's a good idea, by the way. I think you're on the money there. But what I did in response anyway was to pull a bunch of interesting headlines from the first week of the NHL season.
Sure, yeah.
Because what have I been doing the past week? I've been watching hockey, so...
Yeah.
Should we?
Go for it.
Because
we could do anything. I don't give a shit.
Okay, all right. Because it's been kind of an interesting first week of the season. Like, I know, it's very easy in sports to sort of like overreact to how a team is, performing in the early stages of a season, right?
Yeah.
And I'm definitely going to be feeding into that here. But like, there is some historical stuff going on. So like by the way, these are all up to date as of yesterday.
Sure.
Or no, Friday actually.
Oh, okay.
So
these are already outdated for the time of recording.
Yes.
So by the time this goes up in like 3 days.
So okay.
It's like week-old bread. Okay. All right.
Yeah, but I'm going to continue on here. So so the Habs, the Montreal Canadiens, are having the worst start to a season in NHL history after a team has gone to the Cup final. It's the first time a team has started 0-5 after making it to the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, fuck them.
Okay. Jesus.
I think it's hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, so through the first 5 games, their goal differential has been 19 against to only 4 on their end. The Montreal Canadiens, they're one of the oldest franchises in hockey.
Yeah.
Right? They've been around for what, like over 100 years or something?
Yeah.
This has only happened, an 0-5 start has only happened 3 times in their history.
That's pretty wild.
It is. It's historically bad for the Canadiens right now. They are struggling to score goals. And to make it even worse, they played the Hurricanes the other day, and Kotkaniemi scored against them.
Yeah.
The player that they famously did not match his contract, and they let him go.
Yeah.
In the offseason.
And the fans were like taunting him.
Mm-hmm.
As if he had a choice.
Yeah, like he had anything to do with it, right?
Yeah, it's like Carolina signed his offer sheet, so the Canadiens could either match it or not.
Right.
And so they decided not to match it.
Yeah, this was between 2 organizations. The player himself really had no say in the matter. Yeah. So, a bit misguided there from the fans.
Yeah, they were taunting him with like the 6.1, which is like his salary.
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't. Okay, yeah, he's making $6 million. What is?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he's gladly taking that money, and he's gonna score on you, dumbasses.
That's like trying to taunt Crosby and just like calling out how many cups he's won. Like, I just don't.
Yeah, like I don't. It was the dumbest thing.
I mean, he's laughing right now because Carolina is a force. They had a weird offseason, but they are still a very good team coming out of it. And so he's doing much better there than he would be in Montreal.
Yeah.
Like, I genuinely think like the Hurricanes are probably the Penguins' toughest task in the division this year. Yeah, so they're undefeated so far, and they look really good. And their goaltending has been really good because we were kind of confused why they would get rid of their rookie goalie who performed really well.
Yeah.
Just like let him go for no reason. But yeah, they look really strong, even despite that. So anyway, a team that doesn't look strong are the Blackhawks.
Blackhawks look like shit.
That looks really bad over there.
It's hilarious. That's another hilarious thing. I'm laughing so hard at the Blackhawks because they thought that they were doing something.
Mm-hmm.
And they look like absolute dog shit.
I mean, I even said I thought they had one of the best off seasons on paper, but who boy, Fleury looks
awful.
Looks rough.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, there's nothing going on in front of him though.
That's true. That is true.
Yeah, that is rough.
It's been a pretty slow start for the Islanders, which I'm happy about because I really don't like the Islanders. I was going to say it's a slow start for the Avs. They were not looking very good, but they did beat Tampa last night, so that was good for them.
Yeah, in a shootout.
Yep.
Yeah, I caught the end of that.
The Panthers look like the best team in hockey. Not only, well, I have to double check now because all my stats are outdated by 2 days, but they were undefeated as of Friday, and the teams that they'd beaten were the Avs, the Penguins, the Lightning, and the Islanders. So, that's a strong start if I've ever seen one.
Well, they only beat the Penguins in a shootout, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Nobody's beaten the Penguins in regulation.
Nope. Somehow.
That game last night, I did not see it. I need to watch the highlights still. But
it was
unbelievable.
It was a fucking beatdown. Like
7-1.
They got some chances in the first.
Mm-hmm.
But after that, holy hell. Yeah, I have not seen a more dominant game since the cup runs.
Yeah, I mean, Drew O'Connor is tied for the most points by a rookie so far in the league.
Yeah.
So I hope that when everybody gets healthy, that he still has a place in the lineup. Honestly,
I think he does.
You think so?
Yeah.
And Evan Rodriguez is like a superstar now.
He's a top line center somehow.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be laughing if they weren't winning. It's amazing.
Yep.
But yeah, I think two of the biggest stories of the past week were the fact that Nikita Kucherov is out long term again.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure that's caused some conspiracy theorists to come out with some ideas.
Yeah, I'll be keeping an eye on their fucking salary cap. I'll tell you that much. I mean, sure as shit want to see where that money's going.
I know, it's because he famously was out for the entire regular season last year, and then he was able to return for game 1 of the playoffs, and because he wasn't playing for them during the regular season, he didn't impact their salary cap, which allowed the Lightning to be almost $20 million over the salary cap in their Stanley Cup winning year.
Why doesn't the salary cap apply to the playoffs?
I have no clue. It seems like such an easy fix.
I think the real reason is that you can have, how they did the taxi squad last year because of the pandemic?
Mm-hmm.
So for the playoffs, you can kind of already do that. They usually call it the Black Aces, where you can have a little squad of AHL call-ups after their season ends, ready to go in case there's catastrophic injuries during the playoffs. And so I think that might count against the cap, or they don't want those players to count against the cap since they'll be making NHL salary while they're called up. So I think that's technically the reason.
But still, you should be able to separate that.
Right.
You should be able to separate that from the actual players on the team at the end of the season.
Right. Yeah. So you don't have a fucking team go 20 million over the cap.
Mm-hmm.
Because they stashed a superstar player on the sidelines for an entire season who can come back suddenly miraculously healthy game 1 of the playoffs and score immediately.
Yep.
So yeah, I will be keeping an eye on what their fucking cap manipulation is going to be like again.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, it sucks to see him go out because he is an incredible player. But, you know, people are skeptical because of what they pulled last year, and you can't blame them. Like, I don't doubt that he's actually, of course he's injured, right? But it is definitely...
It's just if they're going to hold him out long term again.
Right.
For cap purposes.
Exactly. Because the team...
You cannot convince anyone that he could not have played at some point during the regular season.
Right, because he was fully on top of his game at the very start of the playoffs.
Completely, with no rust whatsoever.
Like, he was the best. He was the best player on the ice.
Yeah, it was a joke.
So
it was a joke.
Yeah. Speaking of the best player on the ice, I think the big story this week was Connor McDavid, as it kind of always is.
Yeah.
13 points through 5 games.
Yeah.
Only one other player in Oilers history has had a faster start to the season. I'm sure you can guess who that is. Wayne Gretzky. He did it twice. He had like 15 once. But yeah, McDavid, historically great start to the season. Really, if you sort of like remove that playoff round that they were in, he has just not stopped being completely dominant since the start of last season. You know, like he's been on just like this like run that defies logic. His 105 points, I think it was, in 50 some odd games last season. And now he's got 13 points and 5 on top of that. So, and that team is undefeated, by the way. They're 5-0.
Yeah.
It's just like, I don't know how this translates in the playoffs, you know?
Right. I mean, it depends on how teams are going to play him.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, him and Hyman are like, they got some chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's kind of hard not to have chemistry with him.
It's true, yeah.
But yeah, it's working out really well. And then meanwhile, the Maple Leafs are like struggling, man.
Yeah, they're
in meltdown city.
Mm-hmm.
Which I was enjoying. I was enjoying the fan reaction last night. It was very delicious because the Maple Leafs are like the Yankees of Canada, except they haven't won shit.
Yeah.
But they're like treated like they have, like sort of.
Yeah.
They're like a combination of the Browns and the Yankees, like combined.
Definitely.
And so yeah, they're just in full meltdown.
Which, like, better now, better right
hilarious.
now than in the playoffs. Because
I guess,
I do think that team will eventually get it together, at least in the regular season. But then again, I did not watch that game last night, so
they just had a few chances in the first, and then after that, they had nothing. It was everybody was calling the Penguins an AHL team.
Mm-hmm.
The Maple Leafs look like an ECHL team out there. They look like a fucking AA team. It was really bad. And they hung that goalie out there to just take it.
Yeah. Because
I guess they played back to back, so they didn't want to swap again and put the other guy back out there after he played the night before. So yeah, it was it was a fucking beatdown. 7-1.
Man.
Yeah. It was it was not pretty. Like it wasn't even just the like Penguins got some lucky goals too, and it just like fucking broke the Leafs.
Mm-hmm. Like
they were just defeated so fucking early because the game was tied after the first.
Right.
And Pens got some lucky bounces like off their forecheck, and the Leafs just gave up. And if you can't skate with the Penguins, you're gonna have a bad time.
Yes, for sure.
And that's the thing is like the Leafs have the talent to skate with them. They were either too tired from playing back to back, or they gave up. And like, yeah, it was really bad.
By the way, the latest season of All or Nothing, Toronto Maple Leafs, is now streaming on Amazon.
Oh, holy shit.
What a year. Like, what a time to document them, huh?
Yeah. Oh, man.
I'm almost like compelled to watch it just for the train wreck. Well, I mean, for the most part, it wasn't a train wreck because they were really good during the season. But then, you know, that finale has got to be something.
Yeah. Whew.
Yeah. So that was some headlines. Pretty interesting start. I'm just glad hockey's back.
Yeah.
Just happy to have it.
Yeah, I've been trying to watch as much as I can.
Yeah.
The fucking NHL Network thing really pisses me off, though.
Well, it's frustrating especially because the Penguins are such a go-to like national team. Like they're gonna want to have the Penguins on there as much as they can because they're the Penguins.
The problem is that it's not a national broadcast. They're just rebroadcasting the local feed.
Yeah, but like it technically is
on NHL Network.
It technically is though because they're broadcasting it nationally. Like that they have the rights to it.
But you can still put it on the fucking app that you partnered with to broadcast all out of market games.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Because you could get the NHL Network games on NHL TV.
Yeah, by the way, in case you are still somehow listening,
if we didn't explain.
somehow listening to this. So ESPN Plus got the rights to the NHL basically. ESPN is broadcasting a bunch of games on their network, and then also ESPN Plus has all the out of market games. So basically every night there's, you know, most of the games are on that app, except when they're on NHL Network, which happens a couple of times a week. And like you just said, these aren't like these aren't nationally broadcast games. They're still the regional feeds.
Yeah, but they're calling it national games. Mm-hmm. And so the NHL or the ESPN Plus service is supposed to be the replacement for the old NHL TV app, where you would get the out of market games basically the same way. But with that, you would still get the NHL Network games. Now you don't. And so the only way to get the NHL Network games is if you have a cable subscription that carries the NHL Network. Mm-hmm. Well, that's the legal way to do it. Otherwise, you got to pirate the fucking streams instead of using the service that you're paying for that the NHL partnered with.
Yep.
It's really, really stupid.
It is stupid. But like instead of watching the Pens game last night, I just watched the Avs and the Lightning, so it wasn't that bad.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I wasn't gonna miss it, so I just pirated it. It's just frustrating.
It's
like, well, why did I bother to pay this money when I could have just pirated everything then?
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah.
It's like, but it's annoying because the ESPN streaming quality is good. Like it's exactly what I want. They bury some of the NHL games some nights, which is frustrating. But the video quality is good, and that's all I can ask for. Mm-hmm. And you get the ESPN games. I didn't catch who was doing. They have a woman broadcasting some of the games, a play-by-play.
I believe it could be Leia Hextall, but I could also be wrong about that. But yeah, she's very good.
Whoever she was, yeah, she was great. I was really enjoying her play-by-play.
I love the way that she calls it straight for the most part, but then when something exciting happens, just the way she's able to adapt her voice to the level of intensity or excitement on the ice is so great. Like that's what you want out of a hockey broadcaster, which not enough of them do that, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I think they have Steve Levy doing some of their other games. Mm-hmm. He's awful. He blows chunks.
Yeah.
He really annoys me. Because he's just trying to be smart. He's so smarmy and weird. No, I didn't like him. So I appreciated her play-by-play greatly. Mm-hmm. So hopefully she gets a lot more games that I tune into. But they have a weird thing, like their crowd sounds are too high.
Oh, really?
Sometimes it like drowns out the announcing, which is odd. It's like their sound mix is a little off. But then TNT also has some games this year instead of NBC. And that's also kind of weird because it's like half of the old NBC crew.
Yeah.
So they got who's that fucking douche from NBC?
Which one?
I know. He would do color commentary.
There's Eddie Olczyk.
Yeah, no, is he doing TNT?
I don't know. I don't get TNT, so that's another set of games that I can't watch.
It's because he also does Flyers games, and he's a fucking
Eddie Olczyk I think does Blackhawks, so that you must be talking about somebody else.
Well, anyway, so they got him. He's obnoxious. I don't know why they brought him back. To do games.
They have Gretzky in the studio though, right? Which is really cool.
Yeah, I caught some of that. It was just Gretzky and Biz Nasty fighting.
Oh.
Like they're trying to create some kind of like fun dynamic or whatever.
Okay.
So it's just the two of them sniping at each other. And it's like really forced and like dumb. 'Cause it's like, oh, haha, it's the greatest player ever. And then this fucking, thug grinder guy.
I mean, I'm happy for him.
It's like, okay.
Because he took this job to just be able to spend time with his family.
Yeah.
Instead of he was like in the front office, wasn't he? Of like Edmonton?
Yeah, the Oilers.
Yeah, so this is definitely giving him some more time.
Yeah, I think he's fine. I just think the dynamic is weird and forced. Because I guess they're trying to emulate what they do on the NBA on TNT.
Oh, with like Barkley and Shaq.
Yeah, and Shaq.
Yeah, the non-celebrity.
Yeah. And I don't think it works for hockey. So.
Yeah, different dynamic,
Yeah, but the problem with TNT was that on the app side, because that's how I have to watch it, the frame rate or like something was going on where it looked terrible. Like the picture quality, the resolution was fine, but anytime the camera would pan from one side of the ice to the other, it would like, I don't know if it's juddering or interpolating like extra frames or the frame rate was just low, but it was like, it hurt to look at.
Yeah, I couldn't watch that.
No, it was really bad. I had to stop. But whenever the camera is still and you're just watching like one side of the ice, like for a power play or something, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's completely fine. But whenever the camera's panning, it's really bad. And I don't know why.
Yeah, and in hockey, that's like 90% of the time, so.
No. Like I actually lost track of the puck whenever it was panning because it was like the frames were, it was really strange.
Yeah, that's rough.
And this was my first time using that app, so
But like basketball
I don't know.
probably has the same thing because like the camera moves in basketball a lot too, so.
Right, I would think,
and they've been carrying NBA games forever.
Right.
So that's really strange.
I know. I don't know what was going on with that.
Because it's like, what is TNT anymore outside of like maybe some sitcom reruns and then sports in primetime, right? Like they really don't have many scripted TV shows, I don't think.
There was a commercial for, they have, this month only, they have Suicide Squad, Joker, Avengers Endgame, and Thor Ragnarok. All on TNT. It's the place where you can catch it.
Oh yeah, because we were at that concert and TBS is like an offshoot of TNT, and they were showing like Suicide Squad with like commentary in between scenes or something.
Yeah.
Just really dire stuff.
It was so strange.
It's a rough way to spend a Friday night.
Yeah. That's such an outdated like way of watching anything.
Yeah, cutting into a movie partway through to have a sit down conversation.
Yeah. It's like there used to be a world where like that was a way to watch a movie.
Yeah.
You know? Where like where like home video was expensive, you know, and you couldn't always rent something. And so like one of these cable stations, you know, got the rights to play some movie, but they still had to run ads, of course. But it's just like, what year is it?
Yeah, so it's like if you combine the segments plus the ad times, like that Suicide Squad had to take like almost 4 hours to get through.
Right. And it's probably the TV version, because wasn't that an R-rated movie?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. And like it felt like a clip show, because I couldn't even... They were just showing shit, because I don't even remember Batman showing up, and then all of a sudden Batman's there. While we're waiting for this punk show to start. Just peeking over and seeing weird clips of Jared Leto Joker.
Yep.
Oh my god.
Yeah, the best thing I can remember being on TBS was the Pete Holmes show. His late night show that came on after Conan at like 12:30 in the morning or whatever. It was like a variety show / sort of like a late night type thing, but it was mostly variety stuff, like bits and whatnot. It was good.
Yeah, I remember watching a lot of Conan, like in high school.
Yeah.
God.
Anyway, we're somehow still doing this episode here. I don't know how that happened.
We're still in it.
We should probably.
We somehow made it to 2 hours again.
See, I was going to suggest, because you were, because you put in the notes, like I said earlier, like maybe some smart changes that we could make to the show. And I was thinking about the podcasts I listen to and which ones that I listen all the way through. And for most of them, it's the shows that are under an hour. So I don't know.
I'll just put us on 2 times speed.
Okay.
We'll sound like chipmunks, but it'll be under an hour.
There we go. That works.
Yeah.
Like some people actually listen to podcasts on accelerated speed. I couldn't do that.
No, I couldn't. It would like melt my brain. Yeah.
Anyway, this episode definitely was not on 2 times speed.
No.
We should probably hop off here.
We have to cut and run.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for listening. We really appreciate it, especially if you make it to the end.
Oh, absolutely.
I've got no fucking way of knowing if you do or not. Because I know for sure my dad doesn't. Let me tell you. And he'll tell me all about it. As always, you can follow me everywhere. Twitter at DeadEndRoad. Facebook.com/DeadEndRoadTV. Twitch.tv/DeadEndRoadTV. Man, I was going to do some Resident Evil 2 streams, and then I got sick. If I'm feeling better in the next couple days, you'll probably see some of those pop up. So check out the archives on YouTube. Do a search for DeadEndRoad TV. And as always, you can email us literally anything at video@deadendroad.co. Check out some of the Fred's First Adventure book and plush bundles over at publishing.deadendroad.co. You know, it's kind of weird. We talk about cults and shit and weird TikTok things, and then I'm a children's book publisher.
Yeah.
You ever think the audiences might not connect?
Yeah, the plug at the end seems...
I know.
I mean, you might as well do it, but...
I know, that's why. It's just like, why the fuck? Why the fuck not?
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for listening. We will see you next week.